Happy Monday. This is going to be an interesting start to the week. It is 5:56 a.m. Just about to go for a quick run, and then we're going to kick off the week. We have two content shoots this week. Today I'm heading to Dublin. Tomorrow I'm going to Cork, and then we're back up in Belfast for 2 days of pretty much heavy production. So I'm going to take you along with me for the week to see what it's like to run a creative and digital marketing business from the inside.
Okay, just back from my run, showered and ready, and we've got all the food ready. I have 2 days worth of food, probably too much. I've got like all sorts in here, protein shakes, there's fruit, pastas, salads, rice cakes. A wee bit of health kick at the minute. So that's gonna cover me for 2 days. And then I'll just get a nice coffee when I get to Dublin today. Let's jump in the car.
Okay, so I've just arrived in Dublin and I thought I'd give you a little bit of an idea as to what it is that we're actually doing today. So today we're going to a client we've been working with for about 18 months and we're capturing content for the month ahead. So it'll be a real mix of behind the scenes content. There will be some planned content, talking to camera content, educational, informative. With this particular client, we work on the pillars of educational, informative, behind the scenes. We also do a little bit of, I don't want to say trendy stuff, but every now and again we'll throw in something soft and light and something that people generally engage well with. So I think today we probably have about 13 videos to capture, and that will take us up to, I would imagine, probably the first weekend of August, and then we're back down here in Dublin with this particular client at the end of July. So we'll then capture for August, and we always try and work on that basis of the month ahead. The beautiful thing about this particular client is none of it needs to be scripted, so we don't even have a teleprompter. All we do is we have ideas, so we do a lot of content ideation before we come down, and then we'll go through all of the ideas. We'll scrap some of them we'll add new things into, and some of them will be perfectly fine and we'll just run with them. And with this client, they have a medical aesthetics training business and a medical aesthetics clinic. So today I think we're actually doing some model filming as well, and I think the last time we did model filming was probably January earlier this year. So this will be an interesting day. It'll be a fun day. Just going to go in, grab my coffee, and then we're going to fly over to the clinic. I always get a 3FE coffee when I'm in Dublin, and I usually always get a bag of beans so that I can bring them home as well because I have an espresso machine at home. So we're going to do that today. Coffee acquired. Such a good latte. So now we're going to go over.
Okay, we're going to quickly get set up for the start of the shoot. We're going to do some talking to camera content, and then the models are coming in. So yeah, quick time lapse. If you do any kind of video or photo content, these kinds of lights are just, they save my life, honestly. And they're so easy to travel with as well. They are not expensive. If you're somebody looking to start out, something like those kinds of lights are what you could definitely work with. So just before we get started, we have a hub, which I'm not going to show you all of the details of, for all of our clients. It includes things like their to-do list, their contracts, different questionnaires, their analytics and reports, content assets, content pillars, goals, and then we have a calendar for every day of the week, and then the different days that we're posting, what kind of content's going out, and we upload that to be approved. Today we have a full list of to-dos for shooting. So we have, I think it's about 13 videos to shoot, but we do have 2 models coming in, which is great news because that always helps break up and get a lot of B-roll content as well. That's us finished up, wrapped up, and I have my lunch, and then we're going to get back on the road to Cork, which is where we're staying tonight. So productive day. I'm hungry. So that's me back in the car now, just about to head to Cork. I have never been to Cork before. Like, I've lived on this island my entire life and I've never been to Cork, and I've always wanted to go to Cork.
I never thought it would be for work, so this will be interesting. It's with a client that we have worked with since March this year, but we've never actually physically met. So this is the first time we're going to do a content shoot with them, and up until this point we've been using existing content and content that they had just captured before we started working together. So this is going to be great to get the dynamic, to get the feel, and to be able to actually get content that we know is going to work, content that we want, and content that they also want as well. So it'll be great. But it's a 3-hour drive minimum. It's just about 25 to 3 now, so I'm hoping to get there for 6 o'clock at the latest. So we'll see how it goes. That's the hotel. It has been 2 hours and about 50 minutes, so nearly 3 hours. Not too bad. I thought it was going to be longer. Thankfully it is now just gone on for 5:30. I am going to get checked into the hotel, get things settled, have a bit of food for dinner, and then we have a little bit of work to do this evening just ahead of tomorrow. Easy process, just checked in. We're going up to floor 2. I guess we're going to the very top. I was a little concerned there. Home away from home for the night. This is nice. Oh, look at this. Obviously the harbour down there. My biggest test of any hotel room is the bed. Sometimes if you do this, you might break your back. I think it should be okay. We're going to give it a go, okay? Actually not bad. Do bear with, but I'm just about to have my dinner now that I'm here at the hotel, and I thought I'd do a bit of a story time. A few weeks ago I held my first ever business and marketing conference in Belfast. It was called Momentum Unlocked, and it was a huge success to the point where I literally I'm still in disbelief that it actually happened. And if you were there on the day, I really hope you got a lot from it, because it's exactly for people who are building a business, who are in the nitty gritty, who have maybe reached a ceiling, but they just need to push past that a little bit further. We had people like Phil Graham speaking, we had Tove Kane hosting and MCing, we have Fiona Harold, Paul Green, Lana Kearney, we had Tina Calder, we had myself speaking a little bit, we had Chase Buckner from High Level, Laura Murphy from Oatco, who just recently won Stephen Bartlett's investment on Dragon's Den, and to top all of that off, I got to sit down with Grace Andrews for 1 hour. Creator, entrepreneur, has her own YouTube. Recently, last year, left Stephen Bartlett's Diary of a CEO as the brand and marketing director. Huge asset and an absolutely incredible mind when it comes to the creator economy and to content. And I wanted to give you a little bit of an insight into what she had said. So effectively, the audience was made up of a variety of different people. People that are single business owners, people that are maybe in small teams. We also had people who are at the very start of their journey, people who have been 20, 30 years into their journey, and they're now just starting to really ramp up, grow, and scale things to the next level, maybe even leave a legacy in their business. And what myself and Grace talked about quite a lot in depth was content. Grace talked a lot about her journey and having proximity, which is absolutely key. Being surrounded by like-minded people, learning through osmosis, learning through doing, and really building upon your knowledge stack and your foundations. Earlier this year, I actually watched a YouTube video from Grace, and I brought this up on the day, and I said, can you share with the audience your content stack, your content formula, which is essentially derived from your goal. Your goal is at the very, very center of your content. So Grace had a goal, then she needed to have certain signals for people to believe in order for her to achieve and reach that goal, and those signals are exactly the things that you need to put into your content. And it's a very, very simple thing, but until earlier this year, I literally just sat and I went, what? I was just soaking it all up, and I said that to Grace on the day. I absolutely love how simplistic the formula is. It's also so simplistic that we often don't look at it, we overlook it, and we think we have to be complex. And so that's what I say to all of the businesses that I work with now. What is your goal? What is your intention for this piece of content? And sometimes we make content and it's amazing, it's absolutely fantastic. Other times we make content and then I'll go back and I'll look at it and I'll go, that actually doesn't really align with what we're trying to achieve for this business, for this brand, for this individual. So it's really, really interesting, because it forces the business owner, it forces us as the creative project manager to sit down and think, okay, what do we want to achieve out of this? What do we want people to believe about this brand or this business? What's the story that we want to tell these people? How do we get these people to buy into the brand, buy into the product, buy into the service, rather than buy from?
And it's important to remember as well that people buy from people. So we talked a lot about personal branding. And one other thing that Grace talked a lot about, which I thought was fantastic, was building a community first and then, releasing a product, releasing a service, selling something. One thing that I say to a lot of business owners, and I actually spoke to a business owner off the back of Momentum Unlocked, and they're building a brand in Ireland very much in a way that they want people to remember the experience and get involved and get engaged, and the product will become secondary. And I always use Red Bull as an example. When you look at Red Bull epitomise their slogan perfectly. What does it say? Red Bull gives you wings. And so they do all of these high stake, high impact, high energy types of content where they'll do free fall skydiving, they'll do landing airplane on a train. I seen that recently. It's just very high impact, and a lot of the content that you will see on Red Bull on their social media pages is not about the product. It's the brand, and it's the experience and the feeling that you get through watching that content that will then secondarily reinforce Red Bull as a brand. And you'll have that in the back of your mind. So the next time you see Red Bull, that's what you see, you feel, and experience, and you're going to lift that can off the shelf. So think about the psychology, think about the intention behind your content, and what it is that you want to really get across in your content moving forward into the future. So I'm going to have my dinner now.
Okay, so just checked out of the hotel. We're about to head over to the client's location and get started for the day.
So in the storage room, just going to get things set up, maybe grab a quick coffee, and then 9 to 5 today. It's a long day content shoot, but it's going to be great fun. I think we're just going to have a coffee before we start. We're going to kick off. I'm probably going to need another 2 or 3 coffees this day. We're leaving at 5 o'clock today from Cork, heading back to Belfast. It's about a 4 to 5 hour drive, depending on if you stop and how long you stop for. I do need to stop because I'll need to get more fuel. Full on day here, testimonials, reviews, patients, B-roll, talking to camera content, talking head content. And realistically, the outcome of this will be a bank of content that we can go and create and edit together to be used across the next 3 to 4 months, essentially. So it just shows you the power of having things planned out, ready to go, having a cohesive, coordinated day, and what that can really do for your content strategy. We've had a great day, great content. We've had about an hour and a half meeting about marketing in general and the approach that we're going to do further. We're just about to shoot with another patient, do a testimonial for their treatment that they're receiving, and then we'll pretty much wrap up the day.
So I'm just on my way back home, and I'm still about 165 mile left to go, which is estimating about 2 hours and 15 minutes, which is what it took me to get from Dublin to Cork yesterday. I'm currently not too far outside of Portlaoise, so I have a little bit of a journey left to get to Dublin, and then from Dublin up to Belfast. I had planned to originally stop just after Dublin, and then my fuel was running low. So I thought I'd stop at a garage, eat my food, and then probably just do it straight for the next 3 hours. I should be home for sometime before 10 o'clock, which is actually surprising to me because I thought I was going to be home at about 10:30, 11. So I'm pleasantly surprised about that. Really lovely to be able to meet my clients for the first time in person. I just think there's something really special about meeting people face to face, and that's why I always love to offer people, let's get a chat, let's have a coffee, let's meet one on one. And look, I get people can't meet at a physical location all of the time. I'm based in Belfast, these guys are based in Cork, so it doesn't always work that way, but it's always nice to be able to actually get to meet people face to face, get to know what they want from their content, get to know their goals, get to know what they want from their business, and ultimately why they did that. And I had some really lovely conversations today with my clients about their journey, about what it is that they do, about how they help people. And I think for business owners, one of the biggest things, and I always say this, it's not about money. Money provides a lot of opportunity, but the one thing that money can provide you is freedom. And I know so many business owners who get into business for that specifically. They want more control over their schedule, they want more control over their finances, they want more control over what they do, and their activities, they have the opportunity to turn around and close off their schedule for the rest of the day and go and collect the kids from school if in the case that they really need to. If on one week they only want to do 2 days work, amazing. They can do 2 days work. And if on the next week they want to catch up and maybe add in, an extra 2 days on top of their usual 4 days, then 5 or 6 days is absolutely okay. But it's about finding that balance. And I think for a lot of business owners, the reason why they get into this in the first place is because they want more freedom. So if that sounds like you, this is probably your sign. Choose freedom. I'm just finished up. Time to get back on the road. 3-hour drive. I had a great day.
Kind of almost forgot that we have our IKEA order coming today, and they just arrived. So I'm gonna have to take a quick few minutes for this delivery. So for a bit of context, we've been living in this house for about 8 months now, and up until this point, we don't actually have a full wardrobe. We literally are using another room. We've been meaning to get a wardrobe, and we wanted one that was going to fit in. Luckily, we designed our own Pax wardrobe from IKEA, which works out absolutely perfectly because, of course, I get like a quarter of it and Amy's going to get 3/4 of it. The good thing is we still have that extra space in the other room anyway, so we're just going to tidy it up a little bit more. The IKEA stuff has arrived. I'm kind of regretting getting them to put it into the living room because I should have got them to put it up the stairs, but if they did put it up the stairs, I can only imagine the chaos that there would be when it comes to actually building this thing. I said I wasn't going to build this, and that is not going to be the case. I am going to end up building this thing. So yeah, but I'm not doing it today because today we're still in heavy production mode. So we'll maybe do a little bit later this evening or something, but gotta get back to work. I want to share one thing that I do that's completely changed the way in which I run and operate my week. I am someone who loves a list. I love a to-do list. I love being able to see the tasks that I need to complete. And on top of that, you might be like me, I also love to see those tasks checked off. What I am really terrible at is organizing all of that into a system that allows me to flow based on deadlines, based on timelines, how long something's going to take. And I've used a couple of different sort of organization platforms before. The ones where you block out your time and you put in your different tasks and then it does it like a countdown timer. And I just don't find them very useful. So then I thought to myself, why not use AI? So what I've been doing for the past number of weeks is on a Sunday, I will sit down, I will write out all of my tasks to do for the week. I will write out all of my meetings, anything that I need to do in my personal life. So essentially, I just gather everything that I know I have planned for that week. And I put it into AI and I maybe dissect it down by day. So Monday, I work 9 to 5. Tuesday, I work 9 to 3. Wednesday, I have a couple of appointments here and there, so I can only really do a little bit of work in the afternoon. Whatever it might be, I really tailor it based on the week because things do change all of the time. So what I do is I take all of that information, I put it into ChatGPT, and that will schedule my week for me. So for example, like today, I have a buffer time zone from 9 to 9:30, and then from 9:30 to 1, I'm in heavy production mode. So we're on do not disturb, we don't lift the phone, we just focus on what needs to get done for that particular period of time. And it's all categorized by priority, essentially. So then we'll have lunch at 1 o'clock, and then from about 1:30 until 5, we have more tasks to complete, and then we can wrap up with a little bit of admin at the end of the day. Now, that's not to say that things won't change, because you will always have, an emergency come up. You could always have a last minute sort of urgent deadline that needs to be pushed, but it's always about having at least that plan in your mind. Having a visual plan, for me especially, is super important, and being able to follow that structure. And then it means that if you do get sidetracked, you're not caught in the wind. It almost takes more effort to get back into that focused zone. So if you can make sure that you have that structure in place so that if something does happen, you can dip back into your focus structure mode. Honestly, it's been an absolute game changer for me. I know there are different systems that work for people. I just really love being able to write down everything I need to do, combine all that information and give it over to ChatGPT, and then it can structure my week for me. So I literally have had my entire week filled out, and it really just helps simplify and organize everything. So honestly, it's a game changer. If you haven't tried it, please do try it and let me know how you get on.
Part of me really regrets letting the IKEA delivery guys leave this in the living room.
It just would have made more sense to tell them to put it up the stairs. Oh my gosh. I have never sweated so much in my life other than exercise trying to build this, and it's not even done. That was about 2 hours of work that we did. Oh my god. IKEA PAX wardrobes are not for the faint-hearted. Amy's downstairs washing the dishes from dinner earlier. We had dinner and we were like, do you know what? Let's just start on the wardrobes, see how things go. I actually only expected to get like this one unit done. And then when we got that one up, I was like, I think we could do another one. How was your wardrobe building experience?
Atrocious.
Atrocious.
No, it wasn't that bad, it was just heavy. Really
It was okay once you got it up the
I have a blood
stairs.
blister on my arm. Because of that ball.
You got a nip. The dog is just playing with his toy. He'll probably come back to me in a second and torture me to play with the toy again. I don't know if anybody else's dog has this real obsession with either toys or balls. I don't allow balls in the house. So I always say like, no balls, but if we go somewhere else and they have balls, that's fine, that's okay, because we can take Bruno out of the environment. But if Bruno has a ball, there's no stopping him. Here he comes. Hello there, sir. Hello. Hello. What do you do? Oh. This is what you're obsessed with? Oh. You want it? Give me your paw. Oh. Go get it.
I'm a little bit distracted in the house today. I have a few bits and pieces to do of work that I need to focus on. Bruno's in the house, and when Bruno's in the house and he knows you're in the house, he tends to bark and cry when you leave him downstairs. And if you don't leave him downstairs and you let him roam around, he does this thing, and you've already seen he's obsessed with toys, where he comes into the room, shoves the toy underneath the swivel chair, or else like underneath the desk, behind like boxes, and then he backs off and is like basically telling you get that and then throw it to me. So he basically just wants to play like fetch with the toys. For the next 2 hours, I'm gonna go to a coffee shop nearby. I know it's pretty quiet. It's a great spot. They actually roast the coffee in that place. It's called Unit 5 in Boucher Road in Belfast. If you haven't been, definitely go and try it out. And I'm gonna sit there, do a little bit of work and try and get that done, and then come back in about 2 hours, and he should be absolutely fine. Okay, well, that was actually quite productive. I think I have literally an emailer for this afternoon. We have to look at some ads. I think that's pretty much it. Our wardrobes aren't fully done, but I do have a networking event that I'm going to tonight. So if I have a bit of time once I finish the ads and the emailer, then I'll try and maybe do a little bit with the wardrobes before I do go tonight. If not, tomorrow is a lot more flexible because I like to keep Fridays a little flexible just in case something pops up. But there's something very special about Friday mornings that I like to do, so I'm going to show you that when it comes to it a little bit later on in the video. So I think you'll like it. Right, I'm back in the car, but I'm about to get back out of the car because now it is 6:20. We have a networking event that we're going to. I go to a networking group every single month. It's just a really great way to get to know more business people, more people that want to connect, collaborate, have different opportunities. And I think it's probably one of the key things that has really helped me get out of my comfort zone this year is
being around more people, more like-minded people, more people in business, more people who are either behind you at the same level as you, maybe even in front of you, people that can help each other grow and thrive. And that's a big thing that I think has helped me in 2026 so far, is being part of that networking group. So I guess just out of the car, we'll head in now. So it's just literally down this street. It's Friday. What I didn't film last night was all of the networking event, or most of it anyway. I just wanted to give people a little bit of privacy. Whilst it's all well and good, you documenting and vlogging, not everybody wants to be either on camera, or not everybody wants to be seen. And you have to respect people's privacy that way. So I didn't want to record any conversations. I'm just doing what I always do on a Friday, and I'm going to take you with me. I go to a coffee shop every Friday. It might be a different one. Sometimes it's the same one, a couple of weeks in a row. And I go out early on a Friday, get to a coffee shop probably for about 8 o'clock in the morning, sometimes a little bit earlier. And I sit and I make sure that I do this one thing. And with that one thing, I really feel that it sets me up for not only the end of the week, but the start of the next week as well. And it's, over the past couple of months, been a real game changer for me and my business and the planning and the operational side of things. So yeah, I'm going to take you with me. So there's something that I do every Friday, and that is basically come to a coffee shop, usually early enough in the morning, because it's become a little bit of a ritual over the past sort of 6 months. And it's great for me both personally and professionally, because I can sit down, reflect on the week, and get some bits and pieces out of the way before I finish off for the rest of the week. And the reason why I do it on a Friday is because I tend to like to take a Friday to tone down, to, begin to drop off everything that I've done during the week. Usually the start of the week starts off pretty heavy. So it's heavy production, heavy editing, heavy content. There's a lot of volume. And then I like to usually clock off a little bit earlier on a Friday, give myself a little bit of a treat. So I start a little bit earlier. And today is no exception. I've just came to this brand new coffee shop. And essentially what I'll do today is begin to plan for Q3, because it's the start of July. So Q1 and Q2 have already gone by, and it's halfway through the year already. So if you're a business owner, or if you're somebody that has a creative project and you're working through it across these 12 months across the year, it's important to make sure that you have a plan and have a structure. And if you don't have that plan and have that structure, start to implement that now. So what can you do in July, August, and September over the next quarter to begin to lead you into towards the end of the year? And then ultimately, when it comes to September, what are you going to do in October, November, and December to plan for Q4? So Q1 and Q2 was very heavy. It was very much planning, especially for Momentum Unlocked, our event in June. Q3 is probably going to take a little bit of a slower approach. We're probably going to look at more opportunities for working with new clients in different industries, and also developing more connections and more relationships. And then that will ultimately lead into Q4, which will be again back into volume and output for those clients, and also planning for next year as well, because the plan is to do another Momentum Unlocked, and we're probably going to do that around about March time next year. So that's essentially what I'm doing today, is planning for Q3. It's the start of July, so sitting down with a coffee, going through what has worked over the past 6 months, what hasn't worked, what can we improve on, what can we do better, what can we continue to do consistently, and ultimately how we can help our clients get the most impact possible for their clients, for their customers, and have a bigger impact on the wider community that they serve. So that's what I'm doing. And ultimately, it's all about brainstorming, planning, and then making sure that you execute that plan after you make the plan. Because if you don't stick to it, what's the point in creating the plan in the first place? So yeah, Q3 is a go, and it's all very positive. Now we're gonna go and take this guy. You coming? Are you coming, sir? You wanna go out? Do you wanna go out? Gonna take him to Amy's mummy's, and then I am gonna go to my family. A little bit of Friday flexibility. Who doesn't love it? It's not every day that you get a brown envelope with a refund in it. I got a new car in March. I taxed it, and then I overtaxed it somehow. So now they've given me a letter with a refund check. So, like I said, it's not every day you get one of those. Happy days. It's like £30, but £30 is £30, you know. Willow. Say hello, Willow. This is Willow. Our family got her and her brother in January 2024. So they're nearly 3, and they're just the best. I'll see if I can find Blue, actually. Where's Blue? I always think you're like Burr in the Big Blue House. Yeah, the way your big snout is. He definitely is.
I've just sat for about 10 minutes talking to myself because I thought I was recording and clearly I wasn't. So, you know, I'm hoping that you've got something out of this vlog. I'm hoping that you've got the opportunity to see behind the scenes, to see what it's like. It's been a pretty busy week in terms of content shoots. We were in Dublin on Monday, then Cork on Tuesday, back home on Tuesday night, and then straight into production on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday night we were at the networking event, and then Friday, you've got a bit of an insight into what I get up to on a Friday. Fridays is a real hit or a miss because I try and keep Fridays as flexible as possible and as open as possible. So that means that if I need to do anything urgent, or we need to catch up on stuff, or we need to jump on something really quickly and make some changes, we can do that. But ultimately, if that isn't the case, then I get to enjoy a little bit of a flexible Friday. And you also got to see what I do every Friday when it comes to the morning. At 7:30 I go out every Friday morning, and by 8 o'clock I'm in a coffee shop somewhere in Belfast and sitting down, planning, reflecting, and seeing what's working, what's not working, what can we improve on, what are we doing next week, and what can we take from our lessons that we've learned into the next week with us. So this week you've got to see a little bit of that, and I know I talked about that in terms of sitting down, planning for Q3 and what we're doing moving forwards. What pace are we taking it at? Are we going a little bit slower? But I hope you've got something out of this vlog. I found it really interesting detailing the week, and if there's anything that you feel I may have missed or I could have went deeper into, do let me know. Drop a comment, let's have a chat. I'm going to try and reply to any comments that come in. I'd love to have a chat and discussion with you, see what you'd like to come up in the vlogs in the future, and really just show you what it actually is like behind the scenes. And I just want you to be part of that process. I'd love you to come along and see. So if it is something you want to continue to see, leave a like on the video, do subscribe, because that gives me an idea of who wants to see it and how many of you want to see it. And we will make this a weekly thing, so it'll drop every single week round about the same time. Again, any questions, any comments, if there's anything you didn't like or you did like, the good, the bad, the ugly, I want to hear it all. Drop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you've got something out of it, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. See you then.
Cut this out, this is gossip, right?
Okay.
Say it if you want, but there be murder.
I'm just gonna walk away. Hello? I've never seen the inside of your van.